This is the maiden flight of the Catamaran number 4. This could be the first and the last. So we'll see what happens.
Sean and Anne kindly came along with their rubber dinghy to film and to rescue me if necessary. In fact, the breeze came and went. The camera makes it sound as if there was a gale blowing, but really it was force 2 at best. Of course, at this point, I didn't know how well she'd float, or if she'd float at all, but I just waited out until the keels lifted off the bottom. And then it was just a matter of pointing her in the right direction and hopping on. And away she went. This is Anne filming from the dinghy. To tell the truth, I was quite relieved she was sailing at all, but in fact she did quite well. I was learning fast where to sit and which rope to pull on the jibe. She seemed to turn well enough, and the rudders stay in the middle if you don't move them, which is handy. There's enough buoyancy, but not much extra. It'll be interesting to see what happens if Sandra comes out the next time. Now, in this clip you can see the main problem I encountered. Do you see the forward crossbeam, the one that holds the mast up from the front? It's quite bent. That's why the mast is falling over backwards. Here's the view of the same thing from the shore. As someone suggested in the last video, I might need to split the forestay, there's the wires, so they're connected directly to both hulls.
How's that, Tim?
The mast is falling down.
Ah, okay.
Anyway, I headed back in to make repairs, but then I remembered I could tighten things up from where I was, which is a handy improvement on the last version. I'd added a pulley here so I could pull the forestay tight from my position behind the mast. But by the time I had the mast upright again, I had wandered into the lee of the land and there was no wind and I was going nowhere.
You want to nudge out? Well, I can sail out, but there's no wind. So, it's going beautifully. Well, there's no wind in here because of the trees.
Luckily, I was able to cheat with the aid of the film crew. And after that, we found some more wind and things got much better.
Finally sailing.
It was actually quite fun. All you need is a bit of wind and then it's brilliant. Looking at this shot, it seems the sail is a bit undersized for the boat length, especially in these near calm conditions. I'd need a much bigger sail to do that spectacular stuff like going up on one hull or capsizing. But for now, this is good enough for me.
How's he doing? Good. Very good.
There are still things to sort out, like pulling down this corner of the sail so there isn't a big wrinkle in the middle, but nothing too major, I think. It's actually a great feeling to set sails successfully in a contraption I just built from scratch. I'd recommend it to anyone watching who has a few tools and a few hours to spare. Build a boat. Mind you, we are lucky enough to live next to a beautiful and safe bay to practice in. After a while I headed back in again, letting go the main here to slow her down just as I approached the slip. Of course the next test will need to be with more wind, but so far so good I think. Any helpful suggestions from you sailors watching?
Hello, Tim. How was it?
Well,
Well,
it was great. It wasn't perfect.
that looked brilliant. You stood up at some stage, didn't you?
I had to stand up.
Just to test it. Well, Well done. Very good. And here he comes. When you can't sail anymore, you just walk.
The eagle has landed.
Many thanks to Sean and Anne. This film would have been a bit boring without them. And thanks to you guys for watching.
Congratulations to Tim. Did you use your whistle at all?
Oh no, not yet. I will.
Now, come on.
What about your light?
My light's gone out.
No, in the event of a sudden drop in cabin pressure,
I bring my
the
own
light
light.
will fall on you.